Okay, welcome to another edition of Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. And the one thing that I have been hearing from everyone from my woo woo crowd of tarot readers and psychics, and some of my favorite people like the I've Had It ladies and the Midas Touch, is that there seems to be a couple of different thoughts about what the Dems can do. And there's one school of thought that is saying, well, they really we need to have more. And I've said it too, oh boy, we really need to have more Jasmines and AOCs and Bernies and this and that to really get on them, and especially that Al Green, which I thought he was really great. Or there's the other school of thought, which is, to put it in the not so violent way, is let them like sit back and let them loose at the buffet table so that they get so too stuffed to move. And it's kind of like let them be their own undoing. Now, and both of them are very valid, very valid points of views. But as as I think about that, and this, of course, is brought to you by the Two of Swords, not being able to make up your mind which school of thought to use. I finally realized that Yogi Berra, the late catcher of the New York Yankees, has a great solution. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. So my theory is that there is room for everything. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And the interesting dilemma about this Two of Swords is that she's really thought and thought and thought the pros and the cons and weighing them all, and yet she's got the blindfold on too tight to see that the answer is just to take it off, open your heart up, and realize, hey, we can do both. There's enough there are enough people, there are enough Democrats to go around to do both of those. So the question is, with all that's going on, and it's happening so fast, and I have to say, before I do that, I have to say that I understand those two ladies on the, who have had it, with losing patience with the Democrats that have been seem to be sitting back. And there is something to be said for that. But I also believe that, everybody can be doing something. And you get impatient and you want to see the results yesterday. And most people I know have been frustrated. But yet, there is the sit back and wait for MAGA to implode. So, but I'm going with Yogi. I think when you get to that fork in the road, take it. So, we're going to read the first reading I would like to do is how can both work? And then what can we do to help our Democratic legislators from, I want to say from dog catcher to the Senate? What can we do? And we, locally and with our national representatives. So we are going to use the tarot to see if we can unlock that dilemma. So first I'm going to use the good old Llewellyn. Boy, I've been glad to get, I haven't had until recently, hadn't used this in years, and I'm very glad to get reacquainted with it again because the artwork is quite beautiful. I don't know why, I guess I just put it away, and you know how that is. And then I thought of it like an old friend. So we're going to see, I've already done some shuffling, but we will do a little bit more. And then we will use one of the rider decks that I have that I've also shuffled up, but I'll do it just a little bit more with this. Okay, woo. Alrighty. So let's bring this down and see what's going on here. Ooh, without knocking the microphone off the table, which I seem to be very good at doing. Okay. So, where are we at with both of these solutions right now? And we have well, this seems appropriate. The Seven of Wands. It's like there's so much coming up at us. It's been like a machine gun of executive orders and god-awful things that have been coming up. So we've got a lot this is where it's at, and so this would explain why people are getting kind of cranky and impatient and all of that sort of thing. So crossed with the energy of, oh boy, the devil. And we all know who that is, because he has been moving with a lot of speed. And I believe that this just didn't happen spontaneous. All the gang at Project 25 has been really preparing him for this non-stop. So that whole thing started November 6th, that whole bit. So that this is, and you know, they're the people that are just completely addicted to him helping this whole thing along. So this is a little bit of an explanation for this, and I would say the worst part of what this is telling me is that underneath all of this, this is what I call like keeping us distracted, is going into the not so better part of our natures with a lot of distraction to do this, to kind of keep us from going down that path. So that's all that deep psychological stuff with the moon, and then the witch is coming up. This is really important. So this is, God knows what's going to happen as that moon gets full. Then we have the Page of Pentacles. Surprise, surprise, the money behind this. There's been some new financing, that sort of thing. Keep that money machine going, but they do risk the getting caught at this. So they've been trying, with all this distraction, they've been trying really, really hard not to get caught doing this. So that's been kind of what's been preventing. In opposition, we have the the Priestess. Boy, this kind of goes along with the moon. So we've got the High Priestess is kind of this wood nymph, sort of out in nature kind of person. This female energy holding the secrets, the dark secrets. So we've got the Priestess going on with the moon and everything like that. So I think the thing is that this is also telling us, as I look at these together, the moon's telling us that we need to kind of reach into that dark part of our souls, to kind of calm down, reach into this dark part of our souls to understand what is going on, so that they just don't get away with it. So it takes something, instead of like going off crazy, that's that things need to be thought out, and these are thoughts. So, and then the High Priestess again is to delve into their secrets a little bit, take a little bit out of their little game book, and that's kind of all about. I think the thing is, it's coming to beating them at their own game. So it would not that you want to become a blackmailer, but knowledge, You arm yourself with knowledge. So, in the past, we have the King of Swords, and this is about the thing about the King and the Queen of Swords that I kind of like is that no matter what deck you seem to pull them out of, is that they are showing you when they're upright, restrained, it's all bets off. When they are upright, they are showing a great deal of restraint in wielding the sword. But when they do, it really cuts. But they really choose their battles. So this is the part of, I think, the duality of this whole thing with the Two of Swords is you can kind of keep calm and in the background and watch and see what's happening. And almost look like you're doing nothing. But when the time comes, you wield that sucker. And you know who I'm seeing this as? This is the Al Green factor. This is the John Lewis, make good trouble. So in that moment, and it's a good thing that like he was an older guy with a cane. That always helps because then it makes it look like they're, in fact, he got censured today, but still that should add some, which is nothing. It's like getting a rap on the knuckles with a ruler, and don't do that again. So, but I'm going to say that good, that's a badge of, from that den of nutcases, that is a badge of honor. So when the time is right, you come out and swing that sword, which is verbal. This is all about, if it cuts, it's verbal cutting people down to size. So starting to get a picture of how both of these things work. So on the conscious level, we have, what is this? Oh, the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And this is about, and when he's upright, he is the loyal knight plodding along here. Now, he can still be plodding along in this context. What this means is that he's not so loyal to the Republicans. This is about, no, we're not going to cooperate with them to take down our nation. He's moving slow. We don't have to scream, you're a bunch of Nazis in the Congress, although, except for maybe when it's called for. So I'm saying that this, and I think that Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Bernie, their mentor, Uncle Bernie, they're really good at that. And they're very smart, and they use their words wisely. So it's people like that saying, hell no, we're not going to be loyal to them. But it's kind of like, take it slowly and wait for the opportunity to present itself. So that's what's coming out in the conscious thoughts. In the unconscious thoughts, we have got the Horned One, which is another, boy, that devil's just popping up all over the place in this reading tonight. Okay, the Horned One is the devil. I would say subconsciously, a lot of these people, not everybody, but a lot of them are getting to know the devil that you know. It's about deep down inside, to beat the devil, you gotta find out a little bit about him and maybe use some of his tactics wisely. There's a thin line. I'm saying at a subconscious level, especially the ones that have been around at least 2 terms, this is in their subconscious. This is what they have been fed. So it's like, move slowly. They know they've, and kind of like get the goods on them and know how they operate. But I think on a subconscious level, the veterans do know how they operate. I'm going to say this is looking like a very good combo. I would say don't lose hope, boys and girls. So presently, the Pentacles. Okay, we do need some money to get the word out. And the thing is that I would say there are certain things that the Democrats can do that are fundraisers. I think in certain, I know probably shouldn't go into this locally because it is kind of controversial, but in our mayoral race, let me say that the incumbent has certain information about the donors of his opponent, and my little psychic sense said the present mayor is right about that. I think there's something to it. So I think he's been able to raise a lot of money. His opponent's been outraising him, but I would say that this little tidbit that he has may have, I know I donated as soon as I saw that email. So it's kind of like get the facts though. You really have to get the facts. I don't think he would have said it if he didn't have some facts about that. So presently, there are some things you learn from the devil over here, and use it to raise money to get, because you need to get the 26 next year, is short year campaign. So use some of this stuff to raise money. Hell, they do it, and they've been doing it very well. Now I think that since people are disillusioned, the nickels and dimes may be coming in, and if for those that don't think that works, ask Obama in his 2008 and both elections. So I think that that money is coming in. So it's very important to have that, to get the word out and to get the spin out. So moving right along here. So in the not too distant future, and this is on the heels of that on that State of the Union, which I'll say I just couldn't watch it, but I did enjoy seeing Mr. Representative Green from Texas making some good trouble. That's what we have to do. But strike at the right time. So see, Yogi is right. We can take that fork in the road. And so in the near future, we have the Magician in reverse. A lot of this is like, don't spin your wheels and waste your energy. You can see that, to me, this is the opposition and how they're using every trick, because he is the in reverse. He is the trickster. So they are using every, notice, it falls with these guys here. Notice the tricks that they're using and beat them at their own game. Because when you kind of hang out in the background, appearing you're not doing anything, but you're doing a little bit of info gathering, the thing is to catch them off guard. And I think that there's a lot to this. Now, at the same time, you can have AOC scream her little head off while somebody in the back of the room is digging the dirt. So you see how both of these things work. So we've got that going on. So let's see. Coming up a little bit after that is the long-term future. And here we have the Homeland Security in reverse. I think it's getting out the word that in foreign policy, now this is where the daggers can come out, the verbal daggers can come out and come. This is where the mouthpieces go, and they've been doing it too, is to let the world know that this foreign policy, this Putin stuff with the muskrat, everything they're doing is a risk to national security. We have this god-awful cabinet with a Russian sympathizer running our intelligence. A drunk is the Secretary of Defense, who is he doesn't know what he's doing, but that can be used to an advantage. Keep hammering home. Americans They gobble that, especially since 9/11, they gobble this up like no. So it's about time the Dems owned this. It's not the Republicans' domain anymore, but the Dems talk about the foreign policy, even the domestic stuff, by trimming all these down, that hammer that home. And find out the Republicans that have been very damaging. This is where the Senate comes in for the race. So all of these, it's kind of, I think it could come together like a well-oiled machine. Okay. So that's a little bit more the long-range thing. So the conclusion of this is the Four of Swords, which means that couple things. This is about maybe stepping back and for a little bit to regroup, which I think that's the four. When it's in reverse, it's a lot more. And she's not in this deck. She's not exact. It looks like Snow White. I think it looks like Snow White actually. But to kind of like retreat, like give the illusion that you're retreating when you're really not retreating. It's time to take some time to regroup. But there's so many front lines of defense here that some people can do that. So it's knowing when to take a little bit of a break and knowing when to go after them. But I think that different people can serve those different roles, and that the person that may appear to be taking a little snooze may be doing some work in the background to do some damage to the damagers. Okay, what can we learn from I think this is becoming apparent for how both of these forces can work together. It doesn't have to be one or another. Okay, so we learn is the Knight of Wands in reverse. So while you can charge ahead on that horse, sometimes you have to rein it in a little bit to be smart. So the thing is, whether you have someone, yelling and screaming, which is very valuable, you need to know who has the fire and who can really kind of feed to the buffet some really fatty and sugary food to get them to get them to do themselves in, basically. So it's, to me, this is reining it in, show some restraint when you need to. So the whole thing is to do it smart. Okay, so it's also important to know that they can't do it alone. We have to play our part. And I think through the whole Trump thing, that, and this is what's wrong with the world, but basically us, is that we have this, we were the ones that started the movies, and ever since the movies started, we've had the American myth of the guy with the white hat that's going to come in and save us, or else like the cavalry that's going to come in and save us. And that is the big mistake we have made in this whole Trump stuff. And in life in general too. It's it's been, the Mueller thing was supposed to save us. Jack Smith was supposed, but I'll tell you, Glenn Kirshner made a good point. He was the one that was right from last summer on, when all this stuff, probably before then, probably for the past couple of years, he's saying it's all well and good that these guys are doing this, but the only ones that are going to save us from this big orange whatever it is us. It's getting out to the ballot box. And guess what? Because even with the Russians interfering, which I think has happened, if you get everybody out, or get like 80% of the people out, it's too big to rig. But the problem is, I can't believe that people didn't come out. I just find that incredibly hard. So we have got to save ourselves. I mean, that is the bottom line. And these people that, we elected, they can't do it themselves. I mean, they carry a lot of weight, but we have to do our part too. And I'm going to say it. I mean, the calling and the writing is one thing, but it may go beyond that. What can we do to, they can't save us unless we're going to save ourselves. So, let's see what we can do. What can we do? Okay. Alrighty. So, first one out of the gate is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Again, I think it's just kind of like the slowing down. And I think that a big frustration that may be kind of paralytic to people, especially since election night, is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. It's kind of, it's that whole frustration of, where's the karma? Where is the karma? This guy's gotten away. These, not him, but all these people have gotten away with so much. Is there any justice? And I think it was last week I heard the I've had it ladies say, I don't think there is any karma. I try to do, kind of counteract that a little bit in the comments, but it's almost like what I think that this is, in this frustration, is to remember that karma delayed is karma like, whoa, you don't want to know. Ask the spirits of Hitler and Mussolini, who they thought were never going to go away. Their ends were not real pleasant. So this is something we have to realize, that that things just don't happen overnight. So to me, the base of this is an attitude change, which is really hard, and I understand it. So then we have, yes, it seems like it's an incredibly heavy burden to carry. And this comes to the hostility that maybe we feel like, why aren't they doing more? So we have to avoid the separation. We have to really, this is what's been going on since election day. And yeah, this is all about the frustration, and where I get a lot of, I'm going to take this, I've taken this as so many meetings, that this is the United States, that getting into that thing like we're doomed, and this is what's been paralyzing us, that we need to really get over this. Again, the Lovers, minor arcana cousin, is the Two of Cups in reverse. I think this is thinking there's something a little bit magical about the Two of Cups, that, with the healing and the this and the, we've got to get away from magical thinking. That's my psychic little hit on this card in reverse, that it changes, but I kind of do it according to what I see in the spread. In the opposition card is the Page of Cups. And what this is saying is, we need a new emotional message here. We're, with this is understandable, but we cannot stay in this. This isn't working. So to oppose this, we have a new message that involves our feelings and our intuition. So that is very important. Okay. Consciously, we are at the Two of Swords. We know the answer, we just have to take off the blindfold to see it. And that is getting more involved, whether you go to the streets, whether you make these donations, whatever. Okay. So, on the subconscious level, the Page of Swords. And this is like kind of trying to find him. I'm going to say, trying to find that message to give, knowing it's within ourselves, but perhaps looking for outside, looking for the grown-ups to give that message. And see, this is that inner thing of knowing. So there's some internal work here that needs to be done, both consciously and subconsciously. This goes back to I want to get the message, but maybe I need to let the grown-ups do it or have someone save me. But this is also saying that it could be he's wielding the sword, so it's getting ready to get, to do that. So I would say this is not negative. Okay, in the present, in the past. Okay, in the past, we have the Star. In the past, that was the hope. That really was the hope that we had, and it's been a tough road to get over that. But I'm saying, what I need to say is that we need to get back to where we were before the election. Try to get into that thing for whomever worked for the candidates, to get back into that whole thing. It's like, we can't go back and change it, but now we've got to get to work and see what we can do to fix it for the one coming up next year. And that could be, I think it's about connecting people, and it's about, with her one leg on the earth, it's kind of like knowing what we can do in the material world. Is it donating? Is it calling? Is it the getting real? But on the spiritual level, where she's dipping her pitcher in the water, it's also about, it always comes down to this, about getting ourselves tuned in spiritually. And then in the end, we make it work together. We've done it in the past in our own lives with various things. So now we're ready to take it out there and apply it to what's going on now, which brings me to what is going on now. Okay. What's going on now is it's time. I think this is this is interesting. I'm feeling that the energy of that full moon is coming upon us a little early because of eclipses and all of that. It's now the time to transform from the old emotional baggage, and that is what we have needed to go through the grieving thing. But the people out on the streets are saying there's some that are not, that they've gotten over that now, but there's still some. So it's like everybody reaches that point on their own time. But to me, what this is saying, that the big deal with this eclipse and the full moon is that I think it's going to stir people up. So it really comes down to, which I'm starting to see, is that we work in the kind of like the same mindset that I just did for what our representatives need to do. It's knowing when to fold them and hold them. And it goes back to my old day. I feel so old when I say it goes back to my old days of going to the Vietnam protests. And I didn't know it was my psychic senses, but I realize it now, that I would go out in the streets and march, but if I got the slightest hint that something was about to go astray, I was out of there. If I just saw a cop hold his billy club the wrong way or something that would, I was gone. And I think that's what people need to be very aware of, because I think that full moon will bring more people out in the streets. Plus, I think it's getting warmer too. So there's a big emotional change, and it's going to be on a whole lot of different levels, which would be a whole reading in itself. But I'm going to say that, leave behind all the old stuff that no longer serves you well. It, like the still stewing over it, or, getting caught up in certain magical thinking of things that might not happen. Okay, so in the following that a little bit as we, okay, the King of Swords, that's been coming up, I think, in the other deck. Yes, it did. The King of Swords is that people need to, I think, need to know when to follow some wise leadership of someone who's pretty cool-headed, but also for them to step into positions of leadership on whatever level, and learning when to hold the sword and when to let her rip. So I believe that a lot of people are going to come into leadership qualities that they never really knew that they had. Then we have the queen coming. Oops, wrong thing. Are they stuck together? Okay. So this was okay. So a little further down the line, we have the Four of Cups in reverse. I always read this differently so many times. So the Four of Cups in reverse is talking about still keep your options open and to grasp onto some happiness to wherever you can. This is telling me that don't ignore that when we get these little victories, to really hang on to it, because on the metaphysical level, it's all about using the law of attraction. You get into action, but a little law of attraction never hurt anyone. So this is about taking the time to meditate. My time is in the morning before I get up. If I don't have time, it's like a 5 or 10 minute, but to do that and to use some manifesting and visualizing something that is a lot better than we are. And maybe not wishing people harm, but just wishing them gone. I have to say, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so the outcome of this could be, I'm going to use this in the prosperity. I see this in the prosperity. It's not only just the material prosperity, but I'm seeing this as healthy, which is what the Pentacles are about, and that there could be some personal growth over this, and to see that you're just about as free as that bird that you're going to let go of. So this is a good follow-up for this whole thing of finding the joy, and that there will be rewards in the community, but also rewards with yourself. So what can we learn from this? It's the interesting. We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. I think what we can learn about this is, if we're not wise, because as I said in the previous one, that when the kings and queens are upright, they're very judicious in how they use that. But oh boy, in reverse, that I think that this is what we learned from the other side. And this is what playing it smart is that, it's like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and all those people. They just slash, don't think, And I will put them into contrast with Al Green, who got up and said, you do not have a mandate, instead of, like, as in contrast with them getting up and yelling like hyenas, which became memes. There is a difference. So the Queen of Swords in reverse is saying that's who they were. That's the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts. That's what they are. They're Queens of Swords in reverse. They're not really bright, and they just slash, slash, slash. So learn from the opposition. So I think it's very similar to what we expect of our representatives. And I would say that they are coming out, and with all of these swords, swords and cups, amazing swords, is that, the Republicans are canceling the town hall meetings, but that's a big thing that you can do, because I'm seeing it in these cards, is go ahead and call your own town hall meeting in a republic. I mean, I wouldn't do it where I am because I'm in Summer Lee territory, but hey, just go to the North Hills, just go to the next district and call a town hall meeting there. And that's what people are doing. It's things like that. So it's making the good trouble, like Al Green and John Lewis and all that sort of thing. And it's also about knowing when to step back and regroup. So to me, this all works together on the personal and the public. And when your representatives are around in the local, your mayor and this and that, all the other things, is to go out and meet and greet them and talk to them. I think there's a lot of, all these cups say, like, get the emotional interaction with these people. Let them know how you feel without being combative about it either. I think leave that for the Republicans, because those people have every right to shriek at them at those town halls, because the answers are lame. They really are. But we can be assertive, but we can be also, those of us that live in blue districts, we can be very grateful that we don't have to. I would be right with them if I had those idiots that I have seen. So all of this, Yogi Berra was right. When you come to the fork in the road, take it. And that's what we can do. We can yell and scream, but we can do things, but it's kind of how we do it. So get out there and take that fork in the road. So that's it for now. I'll see you soon. Bye.